Hey guys, this is Josh from Sandbox for Kids, and today I am coming to you with a tutorial on animation in Unity. So, this is going to be fairly in-depth. We're going to go over animators and individual animations along with, and we're going to be using some 3D models. So, first off, I want to show you this cool site here. So this site is called mecanim, and it essentially has a pipeline for a bunch of 3D animation assets, and that's where I've gotten some assets for a couple of the games I've made. And it's really cool because you can essentially go to characters and choose from a bunch of different pre-made characters. So obviously, if you're going to be working on a huge game where you need very customizable art and stuff specifically for that game, stuff like this isn't going to work. But if you just want to prototype and have some cool 3D models that work pretty well, then this is a great site to go with. And yeah, so there's a bunch of different stuff. You just click on a character, and then you can go to find animations on that character and grab a bunch of different skeletal animations that apply to any character. See, and then you can just add them on and download it. And I go ready idle, and then fist pump, and yeah, you add them on, and then you download it. Add it to my assets, and you just download it onto your computer, and you add it into a Unity project. So, without further ado, we're gonna go into this. And create a new project. I call it Unity animation intro. And in 3D settings and create project. Animation is a little bit different in 3D and 2D. Today we're going to go over 3D. So I'm going to create the project, wait for that to come up. Alright, so here's the editor. So hopefully, so first of all, I'm gonna go in, make some management structures, scripts. I'm gonna create a scripts folder. I'm gonna create a scenes folder. I'm automatically going to save this scene in the scenes folder. Is our animation main scene. Hopefully you remember how to do all this from the previous videos. And yeah, so I'm gonna so I have a couple assets that I've already downloaded from mecanim. So you just go to my assets, and then you run through the process, and I'll show you how to download everything. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and import some of the animations that I've downloaded from there. So have them in your Unity games, assets, characters, and so we have Malcolm is the guy I downloaded. Very, very nice 3D character. Fix now. And here he is. I'm gonna go ahead and wait a second. Before we put him in the game, I'm gonna create a plane. Put him on. So we have a plane, and one thing I haven't gone over too much is usually when you create game objects, they might be put off center, and so it's a good habit to go into this gearbox up here in the transform and press reset, and that's going to reset the transform to its default values. And yeah, so I'm going to Control S to save some ODD about that. We have our plane, and can resize it. So we can say, I want to make it, let's make it 5 by 5, transform. So easy way to make it nice and symmetrical is just to set all the values the same in a transform like this. And now we can put in our character. So there we go. There we have it. We have Malcolm. And actually, let's rename our plane the ground. Make it a nice large ground surface for him to walk on. And just for reference, let's put in a couple buildings. So go to 3D object and create a couple of cubes. We'll call these buildings. So here I'm going to show you guys how to use prefabs again. So I'm going to create a folder, call it prefabs, and the building. I'm going to press reset on this. So it's going to reset it to its default position down here, and we can raise it up a little bit. So let's say its Y position is at 0.5, that, and then we can increase the scale a bit. Let's increase scale like this. We'll say the scale is 10 by 10 by 10. Make that like 30s. It's quite a large building. And we can make this 15, and I'll put it so the origin is in the middle, so we can just half the scale, and I'll put it directly on level with our guy. So now we have a building. Actually, let's make that like 20, and then we can make our Y position 10, and move him around. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's move him over there. And then here, in our prefabs folder that we made down here, you can drag this building down in there. Now we have a prefab building. We can drag it in wherever we want and set its position to reset. Make sure its position is at 10. There we go. Alternatively, we can press Control-D or right-click and press Duplicate and get a copy like that. And Control-D. Now we have a couple buildings. Perfect. I just wanted those to reference where our guy is at as he's running around on the map. So, and then one other thing we can do to organize this a little bit is we can create an empty object. Call this buildings parent. Put all our buildings in that. Organize it a little bit. And there we go. We can minimize this so we don't have to look at them all day long. If you want, you can, put fancy stuff on these. We could create like materials folder. Could say, what is this? And that. Oh, I see. I already made a materials folder and imported all of this character's materials that he uses on his body. So that's nice. We can also go through, can make some new materials for our buildings. We could say material building red. Make the albedo red, and then drag that on buildings. Now they're all going to be red. And because, see, I dragged it on the prefab down here, because this prefab is, these are all instances of that prefab, is going to apply to all of them. So now we have nice red tinged buildings, just how we like it. So now, let's see, so now we're going to import our animation. So, so I'm going to create a folder, I'm going to call it characters, I'm going to put Malcolm in there. So here's our prefab Malcolm. And then I'm going to create a folder and call it animations. And we're going to have another folder. It's going to be animator controllers. And we'll get to that in just a second after we import our animations from Malcolm. So, I'll show you. So we're going to go to import new assets, and go to Malcolm. So I already have all these downloaded. You're going to have to go to that site and download them as part of a package, or yeah, on the Mixamo site if you're using that. But so a ton of different animations here. So I want idle. So I can only do these one at a time. So I want idle. Let's import you. And I want you to go straight into animation. So if we click on that and then import, then it'll import it straight into the folder, which is always nice. And let's do walking. And let's do a run. And we don't want to do anything else besides that. Jogging, I guess. You have that. Alright. So we have our animations now. And what do I have to do? Did you get anything to these guys? No. This should be good. So, we are going to make an animator controller. So animator controllers are great, and they're super powerful in Unity. So we're going to go to the animator controllers folder here, right click, press create, and I'm going to go to animator controller. And we're going to call this Malcolm. Actually, spell it Malcolm movement controller. Right, and we can just double click that, and then we bring up our animator window. You can go to, if you don't have that already in your editor, you can go to Window and go to Animator, and now bring this up here. We want this animator window, and in here we're gonna have a bunch of cool stuff. So the way animators work is we have a bunch of states. So this is, if you've ever heard of a state machine, this is a type of state machine. So we're gonna have to drag some states in here, and then we're gonna have transitions between those states in order to transition and have, you know, conditions to transition. So first thing we're gonna do is we want a state for each of our animations. So let's look at our animations. So we have an idle animation. So that's what we want our default to be when we're not doing anything. So I'm going to go ahead and right click, press create state, empty, and now we have an empty state. So as soon as this animator controller starts on entry, it's going to go straight to this state. So it's like our default state. And here is our transition. So yeah. So in here we can name this, rename it. Let's rename it idle. And then in our inspector we can also apply an animation. So we want to drag this idle animation up here. Doesn't want to go. Let's see. Maybe it's actually in there. Let's see. Let's try using the circle. Oh, I see. The animation is actually this guy. So we need to rename these. So, whoops, didn't want to do that. Let's rename these guys. Where's the rename button? Not good. Okay, so we want to go to our inspector, press edit, and then here we can rename our animation. So rename it idle, grab it, and so now it will be called idle, and let's go and do that for other animations too. So I'm going to go here, the jogging animation, and let's rename that jogging, and then inspector, and same with running, apply that, edit, name it and apply walking, edit, walking, apply. Alright, now we have all our animations. Now we can go in and apply our idle animation, which we already have in there. Great. So now we have all those and they're named, and we can apply them. And yeah, so let's so first we're gonna have to, if we want to make this work, we're gonna have to put our animator controller that we have here. So close all these guys down. Look at them. We have our animator controller, and we need to put that on Malcolm. So if we look here, our prefab that we put on already has an animator component added onto there. If it doesn't automatically have it, we can go down in here to add component and just type in animator, and we can throw that on, but this already has it on by default, which is nice. And in here it's going to have a little place called controller, and we want to see we want to put that on, so we're gonna go here, Malcolm move controller, throw that on, oops, and now it has the control on. So let's see how that looks. Oh, he went running. That's not supposed to happen. So let's go ahead and look in here. Oh, okay, here we go. We accidentally put in the running animation. So we want idle. There we go. Idle. And let's press play now, see what that looks like in our game view. And there we go. So the idle animation is playing. So he is doing nothing. You can see he's not completely still. The idle animation is actually him just his hands kind of wavering a little bit. And yeah. So that's great. We can also go in here and play these. It doesn't have a model available for preview. So let me see. So I forgot one thing in here. So in our animations, we also want to do apply a couple more things. So we want to go to our animations, and then in our inspector, it's going to have some import settings that I forgot to put on. We want to set the animation type to to a humanoid, since it's a humanoid, and then we want to actually assign it to our 3D model of Malcolm that we put in here. So we're going to go to our animation and create from other avatar, and then we can just drag our Malcolm in there, hopefully. Malcolm avatar. Animation type to generic. No. Humanoid. Copy from other avatar. No. Alright guys, so we do have a couple different settings that we have to change in here to get this to work. So, in our idle animation, so first of all, okay, in our actual character here, we have Malcolm, and we have, this is the avatar this is based upon. So we need to go into our Malcolm, and we need to go to rig. We need to make sure that it's marked as a humanoid, and that it is marked as being created from this model, and then you press apply. And then for each individual animation, we need to copy from that avatar that we just created. So we need to select the Malcolm avatar in here, and then we need to apply that. And then we also, in our animations tab, we need to do a couple things. For idle specifically, we need to make it loop. So that way it's going to loop in the idle animation over and over again. And then we need to apply root transform position on the y-axis. So this is going to make it so the root transform on the y-axis doesn't change. It's applied based on this avatar that we have set up, this model that we have set up. If you look in here, we can look at it, and and we can see each individual skeleton part. It's great. We can modify that. We already have all that set up for us. So I'm going to close that down. Yeah, so we're going to go in to our jogging and walking animations and make sure that's set now. So in our animation, I'm going to go to rig, generic, we're going to make a humanoid, create from this model, we're going to go to copy from other model, then grab our Malcolm avatar, and make sure you press apply, and then we're going to go to animations, and we're going to press root transform position on y-axis. Apply that. And we don't want the loop time because we don't want the running or walking to loop. So this is good how this is. And then we can do the same thing on the walking. We can make this a humanoid, create it from other avatar. We can create it from Malcolm avatar. Press apply, animations, and then we want to press root transform position Y. Press apply. So all this is doing is this is applying the transform position. So this is the current position at any one time, and it's applying it based on the transform of the avatar, which is assigned in. Which is assigned in here. All right. So now in our animator we have this idle animation set up, and I need to rename that again. Renamed. There we go. And now we can press play, and this should work now. So here we go. So now he is idle. All right. Now before we go any farther, I'm going to import a couple scripts that I wrote. And you don't need to worry about what these do for now, but they're just gonna create some pretty generic third-person movement behavior. So assets. Import new asset. Desktop assets, and we want all three of these guys actually. And no, I don't want you in there. I want you in the scripts folder. The player movement, player rotation. And we want the player camera. There we go. And now Malcolm. All right, and we're also going to do a couple more things. We're going to add a rigid body. So this is going to rigid body component is essentially, without getting too much into it, this is essentially the access to the physics engine. So this is going to say I'm going to put a couple more components on really quickly as I explain this. I'm going to throw this player movement component on, the player rotation component on, and I'm going to change the player movement speed to say 100, increase speed to 200, and current increase speed, you can just leave that at 0. That's going to be changed in the script. And the rotation. So rotation speed, we want it at 2. So these are variables inside those scripts that we want to change here. They're public variables that we want to change here that are just they're gonna access properties in the movement scripts for us, and so we don't have to worry about that for now. But basically, this rigid body is being accessed from this player movement script, so that's why we need it. And we can also freeze the rotation on the X and Z axis, because we only want it to rotate on the Y axis like that, right? We don't want it to rotate like this or anything. That'd be weird. Okay, so we also probably want a collider on him, so he doesn't fall through the floor or anything. So put a capsule collider, that should work. And so that's down here. So we're gonna make the center, say 1.2, and make it a little bigger, 3. That should work for now. Or maybe make it center 1.5. Height. Maybe make the height. No, not 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.3. Oh, what am I doing? 3.5. 4, 4.5. There we go. Let's go do the floor. I want that. Just edit like that. Yeah, there we go. So to do that, I just pressed Edit Collider. That let me edit it with my mouse instead of trying out values like a monkey. And there you go. So I have the collider set up, and let's look at this now. So shouldn't look any different. There you go. Let's also put our player camera script on the camera. This is gonna follow our player around, hopefully. And I'm gonna put Malcolm in there. Transform. And what do we want? Say like a distance of 11. So that should follow him at a distance of about 11 units. So see if that works. Yeah, there we go. So now he can run around or move around per se. Animation. Let's make the look very good. Maybe it's just because our game isn't big enough. Okay. Let's maybe make the distance like 9. Check that. Alright. And rotate the camera down a little bit on the x-axis. So negative 20 degrees. That. So you get a nice view on him. There we go. Now he's moving around. But he's a little idle the entire time, which doesn't look very nice. So we're going to put that walking and running animation on. So let me see. So in our animator up here, we all we have is our idle animation so far. So let's see, what do we want to do? Also, one control that's nice in the animator is you can press Alt and then click and move around in it, which is super nice. Or Alt and then hold click. So let's go ahead and create a transition. So you can click on it, right click, make transition, and you can put it anywhere. But oops. Oh no, we need to make a state first. So we're going to create a state, empty state. State. So this is going to be our walking state. So we're going to rename this walking in the inspector. Like this. Walking. And now we can throw on our walking animation. What is this? Walking animation. And yeah, that's our walking animation. Now we can make a transition. So we want the idle transition to transition to the walking state. So basically, so we're going to right click, press make transition, and then we just click on the walking state and it creates a transition for us. And so now we want to assign some properties to this. So what we're going to do, we want to first of all, okay, I want to assign a couple properties. So here in this graph we have a bunch of different things going on. So go over here. This is going to show the transition between our idle and walking animation. So basically this is saying, well, first of all, this box up here has exit time. We want to uncheck this because we don't want, what's that saying? What that's saying is, well, what that is saying is that when the idle animation finishes and it transitions to walking, it's going to wait for the idle animation to finish, which is going to look like just lag in our game, which we don't want that. We just want it to go straight to walking. Okay, so we want to take the has exit time off of this transition. And let's see. We can go get out of these settings, and we want to create some conditions to transition. So in our conditions, let's see. So here's where we get into some variable Boolean math. So we're going to go over here, our animator, to this list of parameters, and it says layers and parameters. Our parameters are what we want to get right now. So we want to add a new parameter. I'm going to call it a bool. So bools are something that are either true or false. So I'm going to create one called walking. Okay. And yeah, and then we can check it. If it's checked, it's true. If it's unchecked, it's false. We're going to leave it at false to start off with. So that's our default. I'm going to click on this transition, and we're going to add a condition over here in the inspector. And we want, and it adds it automatically for us, which is nice. We want our condition for our walking boolean, which is over here, to be true. So this is going to say if the walking boolean is true, then it's going to transition to the walking animation. Okay, so pretty straightforward. And for now, it's suffice to say that this boolean is changed in our player movement script, which I can show you really quickly. But this isn't a coding tutorial, so I'm not going to go too in depth into it. So, wait for that to load up real quick. Here we go. So we have our, in here I just set the walking boolean to false when a couple things happen, but in here basically, based on certain conditions, we can set our walking boolean to either true or false. And yeah, so more on the coding aspect of this in a later tutorial, but it's a basic breakdown of it. And that's the script for our player movement, and it also has the animation parameter controls in there too. So we're going to create a new transition back from walking, because when we are not walking, so we want to go back to idle. So we want to transition from walking to idle now too. And so we want to make that transition condition to be walking equals false. So when the walking parameter is false, which is going to be at the beginning, then it's going to transition back from walking to idle. Okay? So let's see if that works. So in our player movement script, if you notice, it had some key codes here. Key code space. We have get key W, S, A, and D. So basically, we're going to be using the W, S, A, and D keys to move around, which is the default for a lot of games like this. So let's see if this works. Alright, so it's in the idle animation, and then I press W, and we get that walking animation. Oh, looks like we have a little bit of a weird thing going on here. Perfectly normal. I would be very disappointed if we got it perfect on the first try. So here, what's nice about this is we have the animator window open, so we can see what's going on in terms of the animations here. So here it's just it's staying in the walking animation until I let go of the W, A, M, and D keys. So let's see what we want to do about that. Let's press take off play. So we most likely want to take off exit time, I would assume, which I forgot to do. So we want to take off exit time on this guy. Let's see if that does it. Oh, it's still staying. Okay. Motion. What to do? I think we want it to be looping, actually, because we want the walking animation to just loop over and over again until it's done. So we're going to actually have to change that in our animation. So we're going to go to walking and put it on loop time. We want to be up in this animations tab and put loop time on. And this is going to say enable the animation to enable to make the animation play through and restarts when the end is reached. So yeah, so when the end of the animation is reached, it's just gonna restart the animation. So that is what we want. We're gonna apply it, saving it, and let's see how that works. There we go. So now it just keeps on looping back and forth. So if we see it starts, the animation starts with the left foot forward, and then transition, and then animates to the right foot, then the left foot, and then it loops after 2 full walkthroughs. That's nice. So maybe we can slow this down a bit to look at it. So let's try speed equals 0.2. And slow the animation down and get a very nice look at it. Ooh, this guy is moving slowly. So, alright, hold on. Let's take a look at this. So, left foot forward, right foot forward, and left foot forward. So it stops back when he's with the 2 feet are parallel, which is great because that provides a very even looking transition from the idle state to the running state, hopefully. And yeah, that's great. So I'm going to change that back to the normal speed because that looks weird. And now, let's see. Now we can make a running state. So the running state in our script, like I said, you don't even know what this all does, but if you notice here, I have a check for keycode.left shift. So that's basically going to, so it's the left shift key on our keyboard. So basically, to run, we have to press the left shift key. So yeah, so we're gonna make a new variable up here in the parameters for running, and we want that to be a Boolean 2. So running, nope, and we want a new state for our running state. Create empty, a new state, get out of here, exit state. And let's see, so we want to be able to transition from walking to running. Yeah, I'm going to make a transition from walking to running, and we're going to make that transition not have an exit time because we want it to just go straight in if we press left shift. So no exit time. And so no exit time, and then let's see, conditions running. No, this drop down menu will have all the parameters. Running to be true. And then we're going to do the same thing, transition back, condition, click on that transition, condition running equals false. This is saying, oh, I need to put my running animation on. I guess I put the jogging animation on instead of the running, but that'll do for now. I'm going to name that running. There we go. And so hopefully that will work. Jogging, walking, let me see if I'm missing anything. I usually am. Usually takes a couple tries. Yeah. So this is saying from the walking state. So we have to be in the walking state to initiate the running state, right? We don't have any transitions from the idle to running. We can make them, but I might save that for another video. But so this is saying in the walking state, if our running variable, which we have in our script written already too, running variable, and we're setting that a couple times. If that is set to true, then it's going to transition to the running state, and we don't have an exit time, so that means it's not going to wait for the walking state to end. Then from the running state, if our running variable is false, then it's going to transition to, so it's not going to transition until the running variable is set back from true to false. It's going to transition to walking when it's set to false. And that's, we don't want to have an, do we want to have an exit time on that? Let's think about it. Because if we're running, do we want them to finish the current running animation before they go into the walking? I don't think so. I think it'll look nice if it just goes straight into the walking, because otherwise it's just going to look lag, and it's going to look like the character's not doing what we want it to do. So let's take that exit time out. So the exit time is only going to be for things like maybe jumping or like shooting animation, because you know you don't have, it's like a machine, or it's something that we don't have a lot of control over. It's jumping is going to finish the jump whether we like it or not. So it's going to hit the ground whether we like it or not. Walking, we have control over our movements, so it makes a little bit more sense to not have an exit time on that. Yeah. Let's try that out. And we're walking, walking, walking. Let's press left shift. Oh, didn't work. Went to idle. Next transition will be walking to new state. And look at this error. Alright, so we need to change the transition from the entry to the idle. I don't know why that got changed to the walking state. But yeah. Now, let's try testing that again. And he is walking. Let's try running, or jogging, and he's jogging. Oh, but at the end there, he stops because we don't have it looping. But he does go back to walking, and he does go back to the idle state. So here, walking state, the walking is triggered. So walking state, and then from the walking, I press left shift, and running is triggered. It goes to the running state. And I let go of left shift, and it goes back to the walking state. I let go of the WASD keys, and it goes back to the idle state. So let's real quick change the running animation, or the jogging animation, to loop. Loop time is checked, and that should be good now. So let's apply it. Shift, and it works. It loops. That looks great. Alright, I got a great big red buildings there. And try running into them. Nice. Runs into them quite nicely. Alright. So that's it for this animation tutorial. And check back next time for the next one. Thanks for watching.